Next to me is the Shelby GT350R, one of the best cars Ford has ever made. Purpose-built for the track, it's got a screaming naturally aspirated flat plane crank V8 and a brilliant manual transmission. So, is it worth the $70,000 they're commanding today? That's exactly what I'm here to find out. Under the hood of the Shelby GT350R is a masterpiece of an engine called the Voodoo. It's a 5.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 with a flat plane crank layout. Because of this and its lighter crankshaft, it's able to rev to a ridiculous 8,250 RPM. And because of that, it's one of the best sounding engines Ford has ever made. The craziest part is the 5.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 in this actually weighs less than the 4.5-liter V8 in the 458 Italia that they benchmarked a lot of this engine after. All told, the car makes 526 horsepower and 429 pound-feet of torque. Now, I don't recommend this, but this is something really cool. While this engine was developed to run on 93 octane, apparently you can actually run it on 87 octane with only a reduction of 15 horsepower. Another fun fact, the benchmark car for this was actually the 1965 Shelby GT350 race car owned by Carroll Shelby. So what differentiates the R from the standard GT350? Well, the easiest way to tell is this massive oval wing right here. We also have a more aggressive front splitter, side skirts, lower suspension, beefier dampers, but the most important thing, in my opinion, in terms of handling is the wheels. You see, these wheels right here are actually carbon fiber, despite the fact that they are painted. That saves 60 pounds of unsprung mass over the standard GT350 wheels, which is huge for performance around the racetrack. In fact, when dynoed, this car actually makes 4 horsepower more at the wheels just due to the wheels alone as compared to the GT350 on standard wheels. The 350R was made with one purpose in mind, going around the racetrack as fast as possible. If you want more horsepower, a faster 0 to 60 time, and more impressive numbers, just get yourself a GT500. But if you want one of the most engaging experiences possible with one of, if not the best sounding Ford V8 ever, the 350R is the way to go. Because this car is meant for the track and pretty much nothing else, the interior is very bare bones. In fact, from the factory, it doesn't come with rear seats or air conditioning. Thankfully, you can option back in that AC. One of the best parts is it only comes with a manual transmission, and the Tremec 6-speed is fantastic. I'm sitting in these extremely comfortable and supportive Recaro buckets covered in Alcantara. The steering wheel feels great in your hands, Alcantara wrapped as well. It's got analog gauges. It even has custom launch control RPMs that you can set. It's got line lock and even a shift indicator light. All right, behind the wheel of the GT350R now, and I am incredibly excited. I think it's been 5 years since I've been in a Shelby GT350, and I've only driven the standard car, not the R. So it'll be really cool to see that Titan suspension, that lower unsprung mass with those carbon fiber wheels, and see truly what the difference is. Right away, this car feels unbelievably raw. The suspension is crazy stiff in track mode. The steering is a little lighter than I remember, but you get so much communication in both the steering and the suspension, it's actually ridiculous. So the awesome part with the MagneRide suspension is it kind of does everything all in one. Because of the magneto-areological dampers, it's got this really cool fluid that can change its density depending upon an electric current sent through it. So effectively, it can be comfortable on the road, and at the same time, it can be ridiculously stiff, so you get no body roll and you have an amazing on-track experience. Right now in track mode, the suspension is almost hilariously stiff. I don't remember the throws being this short with the manual transmission, but this manual transmission is absolutely incredible. And unlike modern day manual transmissions, this doesn't have active rev matching, so you actually have to row your own gears yourself and blip the throttle to actively downshift, which is a pretty cool thing. All right, so we're gonna pick up the pace a little bit in the GT350R and see what this thing is like. That 8,200 RPM Redline is insane. This car also comes with Cup 2 tires, which are a lot stickier than the GT350's tires. Oh my gosh. it pulls really hard. Even though it's naturally aspirated and high revving, it's got a lot of torque. So you don't need to drop it down a gear necessarily to get that torque and get that impressive levels of acceleration. Oh my God, second gear in these canyons is absolutely insane. You almost don't have to shift out a second at all. And despite having 526 horsepower and it being rear wheel drive and a manual transmission, it doesn't feel like a handful whatsoever. It's actually really easy to drive. And man, this thing corners so flat. Wow. This vehicle is actually for sale. It's my buddy's car, and if you notice the windshield, don't worry, he's changing it before then. But I've got a link to his Instagram, so if you want to communicate with him about this car, it is for sale, and this thing is absolutely epic. Maybe I need to buy this, actually. The seats hold you in place so well. That manual transmission is just freaking epic. And that exhaust, I mean, come on. That is just ridiculous, and the brakes are phenomenal as well. Wow. This thing is awesome. Is it worth 70 grand? Absolutely. It feels like a Ford GT3 in a way. High revving, good amount of power, track focused. It doesn't get any better than this, honestly. I think I like this more than the GT500. The GT500 you can only get with that 7-speed dual clutch, and while the 7-speed is good, a manual transmission's better. And I think I'm cool with the lesser power and not having that supercharger because of the sound. And it feels plenty fast. I'm not asking for more power, honestly. Oh man. Well guys, 2 thumbs up. If you're looking for an awesome sports car under $70,000, the GT350, especially the GT350R, is where it's at. All right, guys, I look forward to seeing you next video.